All right. You can hear yourself. I can hear yourself.
Hearing. All right. Welcome to the Big Hammock Podcast. I am your host, Zac Shear, along with the co-host, Travis Cecil. We are the producers of the movie, The Big Hammock. You can purchase it at thebighammock.com. That's one word, thebighammock.com. We are coming to you via YouTube, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, iHeart. Do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, follow, whatever platform you're listening to us on or watching us on. Today's episode is all about you, Travis.
Oh, here we go. I give myself a short clap.
This is in the spirit of our director, who is the soundboard operator of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Being on a little vacation this week. And as we know, the show must go on.
Yeah,
so
got to.
We were kind of planning ahead for this,
Yeah.
and should we have a guest, all that kind of stuff. And Malcolm actually had the idea. He was like, "Man, you should talk to Travis about something from Nothing Productions, SFN Productions, which is your company. You are the owner operator."
Yep.
And it was like a light switch went off because we've definitely had conversations. The very first episode, we talked about SFN Productions and, what all was involved with that in the film.
Yeah.
And we've definitely mentioned things along the way in other podcasts. But we really have never done a deep, drawn out, and had a discussion about SFN Productions.
Oh.
So when he brought that up, I was like, this one's easy.
Yeah.
I look forward to talking about things like that because, again, we've had discussions, but I don't think we've just all put it into one. It's almost like watching one, an infamous movie, that you've seen the beginning, you've seen parts and pieces of the middle, and you've seen the end, but you've never seen it all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of what this episode's about. So
let's dig into the past.
Yeah, let's dig into the past. So SFN Productions, we know, especially from, the podcast, that your passion is film, movies. You had that as a childhood.
Oh, yeah. Ever since I was a little kid, man. Even the whoopings I took from taking the old camcorder around, because back in the 80s, that's kind of where it drew from. Yeah.
So, and that's really what I wanted to, my first question I wanted to ask you was, when did you realize that you had a passion to be behind the camera?
It really was when I was a kid, and then those old home movies. I remember we didn't have much growing up. So bringing some of that kind of technology into our home was just that was next level stuff. I'll never forget, my mom wanted an RCA camcorder.
Yeah.
And my dad did everything he could to make that happen.
Yeah.
And then the first couple times of watching those family movies, I was like, oh, let me touch it. Let me play with it. And it was always like, no, it was the prized possession around the house.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm you're making me think of these things now. My grandparents had one, and it was big, bulky.
Oh, big and bulky, right over your shoulder.
It fit the whole VHS thing.
The whole VHS tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my parents ended up getting one later.
Yeah.
But it was the smaller one that you could put a little small tape into.
Yeah, the DV tapes.
It was still a tape. It wasn't a DVD player.
No. They were called DV.
Okay, I got you. Yep. And I know we still have a couple of those hanging around. I don't think we have the actual tape that you could play it in or a VCR to play it in either. So, but I know that there is a company in Bellevue that will transfer that stuff digitally.
Yeah.
So need to do it one day. So you were seeing your family run around with that recorder.
It just brought up so many ideas. I was like, well, what could we do with this? What could we do with that? And then I got behind it for that first time, and I really I got to play with it. I got to mess with it. It had just a little zoom rocker. That's basically all you had. You had a record button, and you could zoom in and out. And man, I just fell in love with it. And it just made me think, like, even as a young child, like, you rewatch those moments over and over again, and you're like, all right, so it took more than just when you're watching a movie. Like, there's other people behind the scenes doing this. And it was just like, I wonder, can I do something like that?
Yeah.
And it just, it was the spark. It was the creativity was there.
What a time too! Like, that makes me think of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah,
that type of stuff. And so you were kind of thinking about it clicked at a young age that there's a lot that goes into movie making. And is that because of what you were trying to do with your camera? And you were like,
it was
I
just
can't do what they do in the movies with this camera.
I couldn't figure out why it looked different. Because you had your VCR look. And then when you went to the theater, it was just like this whole different kind of magic that you've seen on the screen.
And how old were you for that? Like when you started putting these
thoughts together?
Yeah.
It was really, really young. I would say probably when I was around 10 years old, because I was always fascinated with movies at a young age. And it was so weird growing up the way I grew up. So my mother introduced me to horror at a very young age. And it's kind of odd to say it today because just the way the world is today, it's like that's not what you're going to introduce your kid to. And I fell in love with it because it was something that was different from reality. And she thought by showing me this, it's going to scare me away, and then maybe I'll end up, just wanting to watch, cartoons or something on that. Something grasped me because in our house we had a rule, and that rule was whenever you're watching something that's for adults, just to know that this is pretend. It's fake. It's make-believe.
That's what I was thinking.
You had to understand that. And when you understand that and then you start thinking about movie making, it's just like it just clicks just like that. And it's like, well, how can we create something like that?
Yeah. So at a very young age, you were watching horror, and you knew that person didn't actually die or whatever it was. So that you were fascinated on how they made that look in the film.
Yeah, how did they make it look real? How did they pull off what they pulled off? Because you got to remember this is back in the 80s, so computer graphics wasn't a thing. You had to learn about everything being practical. And I remember there was a show on PBS when I was a kid. It was an actual, I think it was called like Practical Magic Workshop. So it was hosted by Spielberg, and a couple of George Lucas would come on there, and they would show how they made these models and little miniatures, and that's how they would create the effects and things like that. And that drew me in because I was like, okay, all right, so you're taking the pretend fake world and you're trying to make this real world, and then all of a sudden magic happens.
So were you in film production in high school?
No.
Okay.
No, in high school, I actually did homeschool.
Okay.
Which at the time, even that time, it was something different. I loved playing sports. I loved working with my dad's company, and I liked making money. And I wanted, at that time, I don't know how the school is now, but North Marion at that time was really, really rough. I had a rough going even in the middle school. 6th grade, I was stabbed. So it's like
Dude, I find out new stuff from you all the time.
Oh, yeah. It was in home ec, of all places.
Well, that one makes sense. There'd be a knife in home ec.
So it was like,
was that Miss Pertima? Was she?
Yeah.
Miss Pertima.
So, it's experiences like that. And I was just like, I knew it, even at that age, I didn't want to be around that environment. I begged my parents to try to find a different way. Of course, I went down a pretty dark path at that time. Ended up going to Christian school. They was to find out how advanced they was on the public school system was crazy. And I didn't fit in well there. But I made a deal with my dad. He told me if I got to the high school age and I could still keep a full-time job, I could still play sports, and I straightened my life out, he would try what they heard about homeschool. And he was like, you got to make sure that your academics are kept up. You got to make sure all this is kept up. and I did it, and I ended up graduating 2 years ahead of my class.
Gotcha.
So that gave me extra time to really plan out what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because while everybody else was still in high school, I had a few years ahead of them where I could plan, all right, this is where I want to make this filmmaking journey, because I was still excited about creating things.
It wasn't always filmmaking for you, though, right away, right? Because, I mean, I did learn also that you did the stand-up comedy thing for a few years.
Well, doing stand-up was a rebellion against my parents.
Yeah.
So during that time before I wanted to go to college, I was always looking into film schools.
Mm-hmm.
Parents always promised that they would pay no matter what career opportunity I wanted to go into. My dad was hard on the business side. He wanted me to be a businessman, learn business, and not dig ditches.
Mm-hmm.
So that I had already made up my mind. This is what I wanted to do. I learned how to try to do creative writing, which was hard because I'm dyslexic, so I read things backwards. I spell things wrong. But it didn't matter to me. Throughout what I learned in high school, I was like, this is my way in. I remember entering a contest. I came up with a short creative story, and I got a small scholarship to go to film school.
Gotcha.
And I was excited about that. And when it come to show my parents my dreams are starting to come true, they were shattered because they wouldn't pay for it. They wouldn't pay for the rest.
Gotcha.
So it was business school or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, well, half my life I was a smart aleck. I was like, I'm going to learn how to make people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, how's that going to get you into the movies? I was like, it will. Entertainment. It's in that field.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I started as a DJ downtown. Well, DJ host. That would introduce comics and different things like that. So I could work on, in between getting the comics on stage, I could work on telling a few jokes and things like that. I spent, around that time, the internet was getting really popular. So there was this Yahoo Chats. It was way before AOL Chats and AIM and all that stuff. And I would get in there and I would try to do voices and I would pretend like I'm a different person. And once I started understanding how to make people laugh, that's when I started to try jokes on stage, which is very, very hard because I can tell you right now, I tried to write jokes over and over again and I couldn't. I couldn't figure out the knack of it, but I thought my life was pretty interesting and I thought my family was pretty interesting. So what's the easiest way to do? And to get over your frustrations, let's poke fun of how you grew up, especially in Spar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a one-horse town with a four-way stop.
There you go.
So, and it was fun, man. 5 years I spent doing that. And 2 years doing the hosting and all that stuff. And eventually the bookers would be like, hey, can you fill a spot here? Can you do this? And I was like, yeah, I got the material in the back pocket. This is why you guys hired me. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it with a passion. And I figured that one day that it's going to translate into film.
So how that brings us into this. How did SFN come to be?
It's crazy. So there's two, and I always like to joke about it. There's two origin stories to SFN. At the time, I knew I wanted to make films. I walked away from stand-up for some choices of mine. Nothing to do with not wanting to do it no more because I always like to try to make somebody laugh.
Yeah.
But
you do on here.
I figured, I went out with a bang on that. And then I was like, it's time for the next step. So my brother was coming up. He's 10 years younger than I am. It's how I met Malcolm. Him and my brother used to hang out and all that stuff and play baseball. But my brother really had a passion for writing. And I was like, you know what? What'll be cool? Because I got him into the movies. I was his gateway into movies just like my mother was for me. And he was like, well, I want to write and tell these stories. And I was like, all right, you write them, I'll film them. And we always joked and goofed about making a film company one day. And, it was just a dream that we had in our bedroom. And he went off and started writing. He's got, I want to say it's like 4 or 5 short stories that he's got published. Once he got that published, it really got me up, and I was like, all right, we're going to have to figure out this filming thing one way or another. Started listening to podcasts, and I knew I couldn't afford film school, but I treated it like actual film school. There was one in particular, the Movie Crypt that I listened to. Couple of my favorite directors hosted it, and they started out kind of like how we started out. They created a podcast to talk about their projects and to get it out there. And while when they didn't have things to promote in between, they taught people how to create films and how to shoot and how to edit and things like that. And I treated it just like school. I would take DVDs and Blu-rays, and I would only watch the special features. And kind of like what I did in homeschool, we had tests, and I would create my own test and try to figure out the answers. I would watch movies without sound to try to figure out how they cut from one scene to another, because that's the education that you get in that school. So I had to create my own. And I pretty much had it down pat, and ended up, before I got reintroduced to Malcolm, I was working at Subway downtown in Spar, and Jake kept coming in and out. And I was like, I knew him because we all grew up together, but he had moved away to Ohio for a while, so it was a long time in between that before I seen him. And then we just started talking, and he was like, yeah, me and my buddy were making music. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, you got any? And so happened that he had the one of the CDs left in the back of his trunk. I think I paid him like $5 or $10 for it, and I started listening.
No way, they were hustling you then.
Yeah, hustling me right in the Subway parking lot. And I listened to it over and over and over again, and I really loved it. And he kept telling me, he's like, "Yeah, we're performing at platforms." I think that's what it was called during that time. You're talking.
I remember
10 years ago.
I went to the birthday bash, Malcolm's birthday bash at Platform.
That was the biggest film thing that I ever filmed in my entire life, was that birthday bash.
Yeah, because I know you didn't film Party in the Winnebago, right? But I know that you definitely filmed Cracker on the Edge.
Yeah.
And was that your first music video you did for them?
Oh, yeah, and I lied my butt off to get that deal.
So there is
a story between that.
So let's was that how it started, or
well, yeah, because once Jake introduced me to everybody, and then me and Malcolm reconnected and started talking about things, and then I just told him, I was like, well, let me come up there and film you guys. I had no camera. I had just very little knowledge, but I was like, screw it. Made $1,000 that week. Ran to Best Buy, bought me a GoPro. I bought me a tripod, which I never ended up using, and a little screw-on light, and this crappy little microphone that I could plug in. And then I got everything set up. GoPro at that time had no back screen, so I had to run back up to Best Buy. That was another $400 just to get the screen to plug into it. So yeah, that whole $1,000 was spent. We talked before we started filming, letting them know, my brother's a writer, and we're thinking about making these movies and things like this. Like, I was really like amping it up, man. And he was like, I remember Malcolm asked me what I called it, what I called the company, and I was like, well, me and my brother joked about it one day, and I was like, I'm always trying to make something out of nothing. And I was like, well, you can't copyright that because that's already a saying. And then I was like, well, how about if we just change the word and call it something from nothing? And he was like, yeah, we're poor. You're definitely going to try to make something from nothing. And I was like, that's how that was born. And even into the first music video, I really, really dug Malcolm's song Cracker on the Edge. I mean, it was just, it hit in all the right places. And then it gave me a shot, and I told him, I was like, look, we sat down, we talked about it. I was like, I'll get you and Kenny together. I was like, we'll film this music video. And he was like, well, how do you want to shoot it? And I was like, well, we'll use the practices up here every time you guys perform. I'll come film you guys. And I was like, we'll come up with different ideas. I was like, it gave me more time to be behind the camera and learn what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could also work on my editing at the same time.
Gotcha.
And, you know, I would learn how to take Malcolm and like with one shot and then kind of like fade him out where he'd have multiple versions of himself. And he was like, Malcolm was big on cuts. And he was like, I want a lot of cuts and I need it flashy. And I was like, all right, yeah, we can do that. That's no problem. No problem. And every time I would leave, it'd be like on YouTube. I was like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And, you know, we'd figure it out.
We are some bull crappers.
Oh man, I lied through my teeth. Yeah, we're doing this and we're doing that. And I had to get somebody to believe me. Because if I could get somebody to believe me, I could push myself hard enough to make it happen.
Yeah.
The inspiration for Cracker on the Edge, it's funny because even though it drew from a horror aspect, it drew from one of my favorite music videos.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Which one was it?
It came from Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Travis.
That is where Cracker on the Edge was born.
I don't think you've ever heard me say this, but anytime I've ever showed that music video to somebody, I've always described it as a Michael Jackson Thriller music video.
Yeah, that's it's so crazy. So growing up in Spar, the next little town over Anthony, it had a video store there called Video Plus. I probably am one of the only customers that was in that store that has probably rented every single, I cannot exaggerate it. It's 100% the truth, rented every video in there. They had a special video one time. It was weird. They didn't know if they was going to put it on the shelf. And I was like, well, let me take a look at it. So it was the actual, I want to say it was like a 45-minute video, but it was the behind the scenes of Thriller. Where they showed how it was made and the makeup and everything. And that became one of my favorite films. I went out and tried to purchase it at that time. Movies like that were really expensive. Like you're talking about hundreds of dollars for a VHS tape. Like they wasn't cheap. That's where, you know, it made it more affordable when you could rent. But I studied that tape. I fell in love with how it felt like a movie. But then it felt like it was a music video, and then it wraps up with another movie on the end, and then all of a sudden that movie flips, and I was like, all right. So you got this song about two people with split personalities. I was like, we're gonna make something of this, and I explained to Malcolm what I wanted to do, and he was like, you really want to do that? I was like, yeah. I was like, we're gonna show one side of you, we're gonna show the other side of Kenny, we're gonna bring you guys together since you like your little cuts. And I said, we're going to show that you're the same person that's got a split personality and stuff like that. And he's like, well, how are you going to come up with some of the scenes? And I was like, nah, don't worry about it. We got it.
Which brings it full circle back to your love for horror. Because Jeepers Creepers is one of your all-time favorite horror films.
Yes.
And that film was filmed in Marion County.
Yep.
Mainly out at the infamous road in Denellen. But the Reddick High School was the police station in that movie. And you made sure that you got the same shot that was in that movie of Reddick in that music video.
I wanted to intertwine that. Even on a short film we did years after that, I went out to the high school road and got that shot. But there was something about, they had an independent production here in town, and they shot it there. They made it look something else. I knew we couldn't get inside that building. That was one of the first few questions that people asked me.
They were probably the last ones to get inside that building.
And then we always knew that we wanted to shoot from the outside. We had to make a transition inside. That's when Malcolm showed me his grandfather's property, and I was like, "This is perfect. We'll pick a room in here." No, the audience. I was like, no offense, audience, but the audience is
they won't know.
Yeah, they don't know. They,
and really, that house, could definitely pass for the inside of the Reddick High School.
So it was like, it was just coming up with the outside pan shots, going into the door, having a small fade to actually show what was going on inside that building. So I'd always knew that I wanted to make Malcolm this like show that he was never really the institution. We kind of made it like an institution. So we showed the transformation of this doctor, making him the person he was that ended up going off on this like killing spree and taking everybody out and showing the split personality. So I knew once I drew from that if I just thought about it and used some craziness out of my own brain, that we could come up with just a few kill scenes, different things like that, then come back and, show Kenny's side of it, which was, it worked really, really well.
Yeah, it did. Cracker on the Edge, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's got the horror thing going. It's like a Michael Jackson Thriller music video.
I'm still proud of that video to this day. I mean, that was my first really legitimate project, and I treated it like that. If you was on the set and you was there,
I've seen, and I don't know where it's at, or even
the
if
behind
it's
the scenes.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw the behind the
it's
scenes.
on our page.
Yeah. So
there's a full making of.
What is it? The Something from Nothing Productions YouTube page? Is that or is it SFN Productions?
Well, yeah, because there is 2 channels now. It's because when I first started out, everything that we did, I got copyrighted strike. So when I formed the LLC later on, I made that channel 100% clean, where no matter what we put on there, I wouldn't get copyright striked on. So it is on the original page. I think you have to type in Something from Nothing and then add my name to it, and it'll show what we made the iconic logo out of. And it's weird calling it iconic now, but that photo that Jake originally took,
it's you. It's a silhouette of you.
Yeah.
And
that's what we made.
And what were you filming then?
That was that particular picture was taken at the birthday bash.
Gotcha.
Yeah, when I was wearing my camo jacket and everything.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's where that one came from.
So fast forward, you obviously did more music videos with them.
We hit the ground running.
And then you slowly but surely started to get in other projects.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember, I can remember calling Malcolm and he'd be like, yeah, I'm in New Jersey or something. Like, you guys hit the road and did a lot of, and what I believe it was a lot of photography for like car shows and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. We wanted to film anything.
Yeah, anything that you guys could get that somebody would let you have a camera on.
Yeah, we was there. It was always me and Malcolm.
Yeah. I just love his hustle for that.
Yeah.
It's just,
Malcolm was a pusher. But we pushed each other. Even when it came to getting the building. That's actually where the actual SFN part came in, where we shortened the name. I remember me and Malcolm having an argument in the parking lot, and I was like, "You're not changing my name. This name means everything. We built this name." And he was like, "Dude, it's not going to fit on the sign." So he was like, "You're going to have to abbreviate it." So him and the building owners and everybody, and this was before we actually got that building. It was the first building that we tried to get. And he's like, "Dude, it's not going to fit. You're going to have to shorten it up, and then we're going to have to call it SFN Productions." And I was like, "That sounds stupid. No one's ever going to say that." And we would spat back and forth, and I was like, "All right, you won." And that's what stayed now, even though it's still Something from Nothing Productions. That abbreviation is stuck, and it's all because of Malcolm. So
you've done. We've obviously talked about doing Signal Lost. Was that your first major project?
Yeah. And it was an experience because, I mean, we did the local videos. We upped our quality throughout. When we first started, we started with a GoPro. A month later, it was buying the T5i. Malcolm seen the passion and everything that we was, trying to create. He ended up talking to a guy and got me a good deal on the 5D, which I still have to this day. I fell in love with that camera. And then an opportunity come up that we seen, and another person threw my way, and he was like, "There's this movie called Signal Lost, and they're going to be filming in town." And they had auditions, and I was like, "All right, well, let's try." So we showed up to the casting call, answered a few questions. Next thing you know, we're hired, and it was just like me and Malcolm freaking out a little bit. It was like, "What'd you get us into?" I was like, "Dude, we're going to film a movie."
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you guys get paid for that?
No, this was all volunteer.
That's where he got it from.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is where he got it from. He's just did Signal Lost, and he's like, "Oh, you could do free movies with people? That's a great gig."
Well, I won't say we didn't get paid. So we didn't get paid for the actual for the work that we did on it. But Josh and his partner later on after the Marion Theater did pull. I don't even know if I'm allowed to tell this story, but I'm going to tell it anyways. It was 10 years ago. It gave me and Malcolm some money and stuff like that, and they really appreciated everything. Because I mean, there was a lot of bumps in the road. Because you're talking 10 years ago, we didn't know what we were doing. They didn't know what they were doing. Somehow we had to make something. The movie was shot over and over again, tons of times, just to get it right.
Yeah.
Even to the end of we didn't have enough time in the film. So me and Malcolm put our heads together and was like, all right, well, maybe it needs a few more death scenes. What can we do? And me and Malcolm paid for the reshoots on that out of our own pocket. We rented locations. We come up with a side storyline to intertwine with the film and actually made the film a lot better. Even Josh will say, like, some of the scenes that we chose for that and the storyline for his character, which spawned into his third version of the film when they did the Signal Lost 3, that character kept on, and it was just like it was something that we all created together. So yeah, that was the first shot in the whole movie biz.
And then you've done, several of your own projects.
Yeah.
Hellphone.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's a couple smaller short films, and it's all on your IMDb.
Yeah, it's on the IMDb page.
So there's Hellphone.
Yep.
Tell me the other ones.
Well, you got Hellphone. That was the first short.
And you are eventually working on coming up with a full film on that.
And that's the tough thing about the movie biz, man. We've been working on that for almost 8 years. Script's ready. Script's been approved by some big names in the industry. But it's getting someone to believe just as much as you do. And I think a lot of people don't think about what it takes to actually make a movie because you just can't go ask somebody for money. No matter what you've done and what you can show on your list.
That reminds me, I got some money on my Zachary Shear 8.
Did someone actually cash app you?
No, but I got you for a second.
I was about to say, I ain't seen a dime.
I wish somebody got it. Well, I've been checking. There's nothing there.
Yeah, I've checked a couple times.
Oh, wait a minute.
But that's okay. Nah.
I'm just kidding.
Nah. I think I seen the analytics. They dropped off before that even came on.
So you've done the small projects, and then the most recent one, our listeners and viewers can find on. We talk about taking your money and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can watch this for free.
Todd is on Tubi now for free.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners what Todd is about?
I don't even know where to start. So Todd is about a crazy guy, little off his rocker. His parents were killed in a car accident, and he had ended up seeing this psychiatrist, and he was trying to figure out how he could live in this world. And he's a very recluse person, kept to himself, had no friends. The only person he really interacted with was his doctor. And when I read that script, I was like, whoa. I was like, this is something. Because getting that gig was a luck of the draw there.
Where was that filmed at?
It was all filmed in Orlando.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We was posting about Hellphone because we thought we were going to make the feature and get everything made. So we were doing Indiegogos and stuff like that. And when you start doing stuff like that, people really start to take notice, and actors would send tapes in and things like that. And then the guy who played Todd, Hans, he messaged me one night, and he was like, we just, I don't know what it was. It was late at night. It was around 10:30, 11 o'clock. He lives out in L.A., and man, we just started talking like we knew each other forever. And it was just all about the film business. And he invited me. He was like, I'm coming into Orlando to premiere one of my films. He was like, will you and your wife come watch it? And I was like, sure, and I didn't know this guy. He didn't know me. And I was like, all right, let's hope this is legit. And he would message me. He's like, I got the tickets for you and everything. And I'm like, all right, well, weird and cool at the same time. Went and seen his film. Man, he welcomed me with open arms like he knew me forever. And it really sparked up a good relationship, the relationship that we still have to this day. And we would talk back and forth. And before I left, we was doing an after party after his film. And he was like, stay in touch. I got something for you. And I'm like, this dude don't know me from Adam, but he's got something for me. Within a month later, the script was in my email. And he was like, I want you to read this script, and I want you to meet this guy named Aaron Warren, and he's going to direct this movie. You bumped into him at the premiere, and he was like, that was my whole thing, was to bring you guys together. And he goes, you read the script. If you like it, give him a holler and see if he'll hire you to be the DP for this. And I really freaked out then because I was like, I got to meet this other director. And I was like, I already had experiences from Signal Lost. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I immediately called Malcolm and like, dude, I'm about to do another film. And it was going to be small. The more I read the script and the more I talked with Aaron, we would meet once a week. I'd drive back and forth to Orlando. We'd have these production meetings. And I was like, you got something with this script. And I was like, I don't know what your budget is, but I think we could make it a little bigger than what it is. And I talked him into going SAG. And for the audience that don't know what SAG is, that's pretty much the most legit way that you can have a project with. You can still be non-union and still be independent, but if you go SAG, you get the hats off from them, and you can hire legitimate actors, not just up and coming actors, but you can pass it around to anybody that'll actually pick it up and read it. And he had already had his investor. He put some money into it, and he was like, well, let me talk with my investor and see what we could do.
So we need investors, huh?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sometimes. I'm working on some stuff, but that's a couple more years down the road. We got to wait. But, so he went and talked with his investor, and he was like, well, what do you think we can shoot this movie for? And here I am, like, I got my mouth in my foot in my mouth, because now I done talked it up. I built him up. We're going to make this like legitimate movie. I don't know how to do budgets. I was like, well, what do you got? That's not enough. We need this. And we started drawing up a plan, and I was like, well, go find this location, go find that location. And then things started rolling. And then his investor, he brung me in finally. We all talked and came up with an idea of what it could cost to do it. And I can't lie, he got us the money to make the film, and he was like, go out and live your dream and make your film. So it was nerve-wracking. We ended up having to do more casting calls. We knew we had Todd. Like, Hans was going to be the main character. He got another audition tape from a girl named Laura. When I found that out, I was like, no way, dude, I've already worked with her. She's been in one of my short films. I was like, you got to hire this girl. So we got that. One of my partners, Aaron Jackson, we sent the script over to him. They had to negotiate their deal to get him onto the film. And he said yes. And I was like, oh, no way. This is turning legit. And for everybody that don't know in the audience who Aaron Jackson is, I grew up watching a TV show called California Dreams. And he came in later on the 3rd season. And I grew up just watching this guy. And so right there, you're watching your dreams come true, because little old me that was watching it is now going to be filming a guy that I watched on TV. And it's like it's all happening. It feels like it's all real at that time.
Yeah.
Hans had this crazy idea. We casted most of the roles. We had everything ready to go. And he goes, Travis, I got a challenge for you. And I was like, what's that? And he said, give me Michael Winslow for this bar character guy. And I was like, get out of here. I was like, dude, there's no way. And he was like, if I can get you the agent's number, you go get him. And I was like, all right, I'll pull this off. And again, audience, if you don't know who Michael Winslow is, go out and watch the Police Academy series. He was the funny guy and did all the voices, all the zany character work that he did in that, the Cheech and Chong movies and stuff like that. And I was like, if we can pull this off, I'm going to film a movie with 2 people that I grew up watching. And I was on a mission. We struck out with the first manager and contact that we had. Wasn't getting any responses. And he was like, let me do some digging. He dug up another name, and I was like, all right. So I'm working, instead of working at Subway, I had graduated and moved over to the cashier side, Kangaroo. So one night I was working an overnight shift, and I typed up this email. I tried to make it sound professional as I could be. Through all my study in the film, they was like, never come at an actor saying that you're a filmmaker, you're a director, or anything. First lesson in film, you're a producer. And people will speak to producers. They don't care about anybody else. So I drafted this letter saying I was a producer on this film. That's kind of how I became one of the producers on the film. And I wrote this heartfelt letter. About a week later, I got a response. And I'm like, like this could be real. Called Hans and Aaron, and I was like, you'll never guess. Michael Winslow's manager finally got a hold of us. He wants a meeting. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I work at a gas station. And he was like, you better figure it out fast. And I was like, crap. So I talked with my wife, and I was like, she's always been my rock. And, we do projects together and stuff like that too. And I was like, baby, we got to come up with some emails that makes me not sound hillbilly, but makes me sound professional. And no matter what I write or what I do, it always runs through my wife. Like, she is my proofreader to make me sound as professional as possible. And she come up with some stuff. She's like, send them this. She sent it over. A couple of days later, he responded, and he was like, Mr. Winslow would like to talk with you guys and meet with you guys. If you can meet what he's asking for, he'll do your film. And I was like, you what? He's gonna do the film? And I went back to Aaron, and I told him, I was like, look, it's gonna cost us a little bit of bread for this. And I was like, we're only gonna get him for 6 hours. And I was like, his manager wants $2,500, a couple points on the back end, and we can lock the deal. And he's like, you guys are pulling it off. And I was like, yeah, we're going to get him into this film. And then as soon as he agreed, he went back to his investor, and his investor gave him the money to get that up. We sent out an email, and the next thing you know, contracts are coming through. And this whole time, the whole negotiation, this guy's in New York, by the way. That's where his office is. And we're negotiating back and forth while I'm working at a gas station, and he's working in this big office somewhere. Right. And I felt like I won that battle. There you go. And I was like, the movie's going to come out great. But no, it was just so amazing and so electrifying. And it felt real for the first time, as imagining myself as a little kid and one day I'm going to make films and I'm going to do all this stuff. And it's all coming together legitimately, because if you make a SAG film, you know, you're expected to go to film festivals, distribution. Like, this is the first thing that my name is going to be like stamped on forever. Whether the movie comes out good or bad or whatever, you know, we had a limited budget on that film. We stretched every single dollar. Is it the greatest film in the world? No. Is it a good film? Yes. You can watch it from start to finish. Hans, when he played Todd, he made you feel for this movie. And I wish we would have marketed it a different way, because they marketed more horror. It was really more of a psychological character study. And I think if we'd targeted the audience that way, I think the film would have did a lot better. But I mean, it did great. I still watch it time to time this day. There's some things that I wish we could have did differently. Things that I could have shot differently, things that I could have edited differently. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And it's something that we put out in the world that's sitting next to blockbusters.
There you go.
You know, it's just
right there on Tubi for real.
Yeah, no different than the Big Hammock. Like, it's when you make a movie and you put it out there, you can't forget that it's going to be whatever platform it gets on, like all the major films, and then there's your film and creation right next to it.
Speaking of Big Hammock,
yeah.
You know, one of the things that we've been doing recently on the show is watching portions of the Big Hammock.
Yeah.
So I wanted to watch with the listeners or the viewers your favorite part of the movie. And I asked you in particular, you know, we know that obviously we're producers of the movie. You know, you are a cinema. I have a tough time saying that word. Cinematographer.
Yes.
And you really were behind the scenes, more mentorship to the director Malcolm, but you did
more like a coach.
As far as your physical work on the set or on the movie itself, mainly was color editing.
I was the colorist.
So I asked you before the show, I said, what's your favorite scene that you worked on the color editing?
Yeah.
And this was it. So let's go ahead and watch this. Now, listeners, Travis, you went ahead and said it was the diner scene?
Yeah, the diner scene.
And we'll talk about why that was after we see it with the listeners. But to paint a picture for the listeners, obviously, you know, most of you or a lot of you have seen the movie. But, you know, we've got this character that is the game warden of this town, the Big Hammock. And he's just trying to go into the local diner and have his breakfast. The community also eats breakfast at this breakfast diner. It's a small town vibe, and you know, they're getting ready to have a little bit of a conversation with him. So there's a lot going on in this scene, but let's go ahead and watch this real quick and go from there. Yeah, they better get on with it.
You need to do something fast, man. This is getting crazy.
You kill anything?
A 13-foot gator, man.
Nice. Good job, sir. Man, you got a picture of it?
Nah, I had it on my phone, but you know.
You lied?
Yeah.
You lied.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about
One of
that.
my favorite lines. He's like, yeah, I did.
Morning, everyone. Dale.
Look at that look on your face. Dale.
This was the first scene we shot of the movie, and it was so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wanted to be there so bad for
Looks
this
a
day.
little lonely today. Where's your rookie at?
Got him out doing some stuff. Well, speak of the devil.
Hey.
Hey, Gibson. Make it out in the field yet?
Yes, sir. I don't exactly know what my mission is here, but I got the decoy set up.
Well, your job's real simple. And don't ask me any stupid questions because we went over this.
Okay, I understand, sir, but what am I supposed to do now?
That outfit.
How are
in
you
that
ever
boat
supposed to take
was
my
Oh,
first
yeah.
if you can't learn to think for yourself?
Like Barney Fife in a ghillie suit.
I compared Chris to
Place to
Barney
keep.
Fife in this movie.
Put the camera on the tree. Head back to station.
Okay, then we got a slight problem.
Let me guess. You
Forgot the trail
I
cam.
like how he goes off on him right here.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the couple seconds. Pause.
Damn it, boy! You couldn't dig a 3-foot hole with a 4-foot shovel.
I know, sir. I'm sorry. I got a lot going on right now.
Well, unless you're the one running around killing animals out in the woods, I don't want to hear it. Get your head in the game, rookie. And I guess you should have brought some camping gear.
You catch that swamp ape yet? It sure would be nice to get rid of that damn thing so we had some animals to hunt around here, Warden.
I'm working on it, Brian, and it's skunk ape. And you and I both know it ain't no damn skunk ape.
Listen, Bruce Wayne, we just want you to catch whatever it is out there. All these animals missing their heads and stuff. It smells like a skunk and an ape crossbred baby in an onion field across the street from a sewage plant. I think it's time for you to let some real hunters get on the job, or us Sasquatch is too stupid for you.
Stupid is as stupid does, Dale.
I've been trying to tell you for years, Warden, and all you want to do is think I'm some dumb hunter that belongs in a loony house. Government talking about aliens is real. You know what that tells me? Aliens ain't real. They ain't admitting nothing about Sasquatch. I know he's real. You need to tighten up and get on the job. We just want to hunt in peace.
I like this subtle thing that he does at the end.
I'll try to have a better day, Dale.
The flip of the bird.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Dale, bro. For friends, he kind of crapped on you right there.
He did. Warden Wayne does that to Dale every now and then, but they love each other.
Yeah.
Why was that your favorite work of art you did for the movie?
There is a lot of moving parts in that scene. That scene is very short. It's got great pacing. And then Malcolm was like a one-man band during them scenes. That scene wasn't lit properly. It was very, very sunny that day. You can't tell from the finished product. But the scene where Charlie and they're sitting at the table, it was so blown out. There was so much sunlight that came across. It changed the complex of his face. On the reverse angle, it wasn't that bad. There was pretty good shadowing in the diner and stuff like that, and I could work with that. But you had to make that sun go away. So that takes some skill.
Which you have.
Yeah, I got a little. I'm not the greatest colorist in the world, but I'm still learning.
That was my first ever acting scene.
Yeah.
So,
and it was actually really good.
I'm
not gonna lie.
We're all pretty skillful here at the Big Hammock. But I had no idea. I walked away from that scene thinking we nailed it.
Yeah.
I had taken so much time to practice my lines, and I walk up in there, and Damon's got his stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
Renee's got her stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
Charlie's got his stuff ready to go. Like, we all everything just gelled well. We did the many different angles and all that kind of stuff.
The coverage was great.
And I think obviously you were part of the editing through it as well. Like, you saw all of that.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
we
I saw
did it
everything.
multiple times, multiple angles. But I had no idea. I mean, I've seen each shot we did, Chuck was there with definitely the equipment to do the lighting and, all that kind of stuff. And I was under the assumption that filming inside was easier because it was more controllable, like with sound and all that kind of, and lighting and all that kind of stuff. And then here you're telling me, dude, you guys, we're lucky we got what we got out of that because it took a lot of work to make that thing really happen.
That short scene, 6 hours.
Wow.
And that was just, because you had to make it all look like it was the same, no matter what cut you went to, it had to look the same. And it all started because we didn't watch from the beginning of that. So you got an overshadow cast of Lobo with the sign. When Warden Wayne is turning in, there is sun up there. It's over to the right-hand side. When that was shot, it was shot on a different day, so the sun was on the left. So my job is like, all right, now this is all blown out. I have to get the sun removed somehow. I have to save the footage, clear you can't tell it from watching there. There's no glare on that window at all. So that was all taken out. And then we had to bring pigment color back to Charlie's face. So once it went back to Warden Wayne, you could see him one way, you could see his skin tones one way. And like I said, that was shadowed really, really well. As once I picked the color from there, that reverse color had to be the same exact way. If it was different, it breaks the illusion of what you're watching. And when a person's watching a movie, you never want them taken out of that moment. You want them to listen to every single word and really be drawn in. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge that was overcome. I'll never forget Malcolm. It was like, when I watched the footage, I was like, he was like, "This is your problem now, bud." And I was like, "Thanks, bro."
You came through for him, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's more than just that scene that we had to fix. But that's the magic of making film. If you can get somebody to sit back and watch it, and they're not distracted, and they can watch it all the way through, to anybody, no matter what part you're in of designing and making a film, it makes you feel good because you know that the enjoyment that you see on their face, that for those hour and 20 minutes, no matter what was going on in their life, it all stopped because the focus was on this.
Yeah.
And if you can create that, I mean, you can change a lot of fun.
So, you know, I would want to close this out with, you know, obviously what's next, and this is next.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to continue to do this podcast for quite some time. You have SFN Productions.
Yep.
You're always behind the scenes. I mean, you've even said, you've given hints. You're like this close to coming up with the next trajectory or whatever the vision is or project is or whatever.
Yeah, we got 2 on the burner that's waiting and ready to go. I took some money, I invested it really, really well, and I've added to that investment. And within the next couple of years, it's going to pay off. Where I'm not going to have to go see an investor.
You are the investor.
Yeah, I'm going to invest in my own films.
Gotcha.
Same partnership that me and Malcolm has. Like any project that he wants to work on, like we're going to invest in each other's projects to make them work. That's just what a partnership does. So
fun
be
times.
on the lookout. There's some things around the corner. You just gotta wait a couple years.
Here's my thing. We can do this for as long as we want, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
well, we got this and a TV show coming up, so there's plenty of stuff to fill.
I keep forgetting about that, but we're gonna have a lot of fun just talking about that on air.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what them boys create. I can't wait to have fun helping Malcolm edit it, color it, make it look good. I'm
looking forward to it. I really.
It's a new adventure.
I've
never done TV.
Yeah, and I think it's the first. You know, I've said that already. You know, so all right. Well, Travis, thanks for sharing the story.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Getting a little peek behind the curtain.
I knew it was going to be fun when he brought that up. I was like, yeah, we got to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and there's so many stories, but we got so many time. We got more episodes to bring up stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Well, with that being said, we'll ask you guys one more time. Like, share, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening to. And don't forget to purchase our movie. Have we sold any?
It's been a minute.
Buy our movie. What are you waiting on? Tighten up.
Big Hammock. One word. Big Hammock.
TheBigHammock.com. The Big Hammock.
Let's go.
See y'all.
promised my wife I'd teach her that I'd learn how to use the fade button.
There you go.